I'm going to talk about each set. Eight of Swords is powerlessness. It's victim mentality. It is feeling like you have no choices, no thoughts. I mean, nothing that you can do. As you can see here, it's like being captive. And in this card, swords always represent thoughts and ideas. So she's surrounded by this way of thinking. And these are all her thoughts. And they're enclosing her. And she's bound and blindfolded like someone who's hostage or captive, therefore having no power, being stripped of her power. But really, you can see in this card that she's the only one there. It's her thoughts that are surrounding her and keeping her captive, or making her believe that she's held captive. She's actually free. You can see there's a corridor here where she can just walk away. She could cut these binds on any of these swords, take off her blindfold and walk away. There's no one holding her there. It's only her thoughts about the situation that are keeping her there. And that's why I call this card victim mentality or powerlessness, because it is the giving over to the idea that one is powerless that actually makes you that way. It's a belief system. It's your faulty beliefs that are surrounding you, that are making you feel powerless in the situation. And it is related to some sort of disappointment, betrayal. This could be a romantic involvement where you were betrayed, or finding out that someone loved someone else. It could be like not getting a job that you wanted, not being able to go on a trip that you wanted. It's disappointment, betrayal, sadness. It's kind of just like having something heavy on your heart and feeling powerless about it. It could even be like, being involved with someone who is a drug addict or a gambler and you have no control, or is in ill health and you have no control. You feel powerless and sad about it. But it's kind of heavy energy, but you have to realize that it's your thoughts about it that make it so, that determine your experience. So you can either become a captive to it by the way you're thinking about it, even if the sun isn't always shining. These dark clouds, they come and they go in all of our lives and in different situations. But it's really your thoughts about it that are going to govern your experience at the beginning of August, Libra. Here, though, also in the beginning part of the month, you do have a lot of power. And these two cards are about envisioning what's possible and then creating it. Magician in particular, he's the first card of the major arcana, and he is full of power. He takes every element that is available to him from both all of the physical world, the emotional world, the mental world, and the world of vitality, of passion, of life, and of fire, and fuses them all together and creates something new. He accesses what's in the etheric world and brings it down into reality. So he says, abracadabra, this is what I will to be. This comes into being based upon my concentration, my focus, my willing it to be, and the infusion of my own energy. This is the I am card. And so it means whatever I wish to be, that is what I can create. And this card, Three of Wands, is all about envisioning things. It's the visionary card. It's dreaming of what can be. I look at him looking out on his empire, and it's empty, and saying, what do I want to build? What is it that I want to create? 3 is an inherently creative number. So it's saying, if I have this blank slate, and maybe a relationship ends here, I'm not sure. What's interesting is that this Magician card of manifestation is surrounded by 2 cards that are 3 energy. So 3 also can be indecision. So I just want to highlight that if the low side of 3 energy is indecision, it's third wheel energy. It's like, do I want A, B, or C? What's behind curtain number 3? It's like, I don't know. But the high side of 3 energy is, multiple streams of income. I can create 1, 2, or 3. I can throw these 3 balls in the air. It's actually the unification, the synthesis of the 1, the 2, making the couple, and then the third element is usually the child or creation. It's the synthesis of the 2. So creation is the high side of 3 energy, and the visionary card is all about what is it that I would like to create? What is it? What do I want my empire to look like? What do I want my job to look like? What do I want my partner to be like? What do I want my life to be like? My lifestyle? What do I want my bank account to look like? This is all visionary stuff and saying, if I can dream it, I can have it. And the power of magician helps fuel that. So this, it's kind of like if Three of Wands has the blueprint, magician knows how to make it come true. So even if you are struggling at the beginning of the month, Libra, with some heartbreak, some disappointment, some powerlessness, feeling like you're a victim of something, you actually have a lot of power supporting you to create what it is that you want. You just have to spend time dreaming and envisioning it so that you can bring it into creation. In the middle of the month, Libra, I see, it's fascinating. I'm actually seeing these cards echoing these cards. This card is Hermit in the reverse position, and when it's in the reverse position, sometimes it can bring about the low side of the energy of the card. And this card, the low side is feeling lonely, feeling like outside of the rest of the world, feeling isolated, not really being understood by anyone else, like you're all on your own. But the high side of Hermit is recognizing truth and like stripping away everything else that's unnecessary to recognize the truth. And he holds up this lantern for everyone to see because he has found the truth. So it's funny because in this Three of Swords and in this Hermit card in reverse, I do see that some of you may be leaving a relationship, or you may have some recognition of things were a certain way. Because this card too, Six of Coins, is the haves and the have-nots. Like, this is the person who has the money or the resources or the knowledge or the power, the person who has what is being considered, and then the people who don't have what's being considered. So this card is all about resources, knowledge, power. It can be about money. There's a way in which you might have some recognitions, or you might be resisting some truths, recognitions about money or who has it and who doesn't have it. And you might be feeling a little isolated. Excuse me. But in the end, you're going to be faced with some truths. And Hermit has special insight into things. If you can access the high side of Hermit at the beginning of the middle of the month, there are going to be some new illuminations for you. You will get down, like, Hermit gets down to the nitty-gritty. He doesn't care about who's on television or what's going on in the news or politics or anything like that. He's interested in deep philosophical truths, like what's real, what's not real. And this is a card he's looking at what is of value, who has it and who doesn't have it. Interestingly enough, on the other side of this is Ace of Swords, which is truth with a capital T. This is the one truth, the crowning victory, realization, crystal clear moment. It's like the card of the truth will set you free. It's the crowning glory of the truth in all its glory. I call it also the Excalibur sword. So the fact that you have Six of Coins surrounded by Hermit, which strips away everything to look at the truth, and then the truth itself surrounding that, and Six of Coins, that you might have some real realizations about either budgeting, you know, how you get your value, how your work is, whether you're earning enough of a salary. This card is all about value. Who has it? Who doesn't have it? How do I get it? Resources, what's available to me? What am I able to use? And I always ask in this card, do you identify more with the person who's handing out the coins, the rich man who's the benefactor of others? Or do you identify with the person who is receiving the coins, like the beggar in the position who's being given stuff, or the person who's not receiving anything at all? So, because that is a card of value and of money and of physicality, of assets, of, like I said, budgets. Even like what's of value, what's not of value, who has it, who doesn't have it. It can be more than just physical value. It can be like values in terms of who has qualities that I like, who doesn't. It can be just like a card of assessing value. So an assessment card. And you're going to have some real truths about that kind of stuff going on, whether it's regarding your money, your work, your value in the world, your placement, who has the things I want, who do I have the things I want, all that. It's surrounded by truth. So it may be a real point, Libra, of saying, wow, this is really how it is. This is really, I really am worthy of a raise, or I'm really not getting paid what I want, or this person, I want someone who has these sort of qualities rather than those, someone who's bereft of those qualities. And then this card, Hierophant, is all about doing things in a tried and true way, but he also has a spiritual dimension to him. And I mean, normally he's about tradition, following social mores, codes of behavior, participating in the world through tradition. But next to Ace of Swords, these two together, I'm going to say, are about enlightenment, truths, new plateaus of realization, because truth comes with a crowning glory. It comes with like a wreath of laurels. It's sort of like victorious, triumphant. And Hierophant, even though he's a little bit more stodgy, even though he's a little bit more wrapped up in rules and regulations, he's also a very spiritual card. And there are these keys down here represent secrets that are available to him through his spiritual pursuits. That's why he's holding his hand up here. He's holding the symbol of, two fingers up, saying, this is what I know. I don't know everything, but I do have access to special secrets that are not available to everyone else. It's through my spiritual inquiry. So the fact, and these two characters too are both really ascetics. I mean, this one's draped in, all the contributions of the church and religion and establishment and mores and society. And this one's off on his own. So in some ways they're opposites, but in one significant way, they really are both truth seekers. This one has to do with like access to the spiritual world. So does this one, though. This one goes off and does it by himself, but this one does it in the face of society and the rest of society in a more traditional way. So I'm going to say there's some truth seeking that you're doing in the middle of August, Libra, likely to do with what has happened here at the beginning. And I'm hoping that you go through your creative powers of review what it is that you would like to create, because the middle of the month is really about assessing value. And you might have some realizations. When Ace of Swords shows up, it's a new idea. It's like a new truth that's being revealed to you. So interesting, might be some time for some spiritual, religious, philosophical inquiry in the middle of the month, especially in regards to value. Who are the haves and who are the have-nots? What is it that you would like to have? What is it that you don't have? What is it that you do have? How do you share it? How do you provide value? How do you receive value? All those kinds of questions are going on mid-month for you, Libra. And then at the end of the month, couple things here. I see Emperor and Empress. This is a natural couple. Empress is card 3 of the major arcana, and Emperor is card 4 of the major arcana. She's the most feminine card of the whole deck. He's the most masculine card of the whole deck. As you can see, Emperor and Empress are usually a natural couple. There's something about them that's not seeing eye to eye, and it has to do with this lack of money. There's some sort of disagreement in the kingdom. And now he can represent rules and regulations, order, doing things in accordance to the empire's rules, the emperor's way. And he usually, works hand in hand with Hierophant here. He's usually the head of the military, and he's usually the head of the church. However, we've got Empress in reverse, and usually when Empress is present, all things grow. All things are bountiful. She's fertile. Sometimes she's depicted as having a baby. She represents satisfaction. She represents womanliness. She represents femininity. Everything that is growing, plants, spring, summer, the harvest, everything that has to do with growth, fertility, abundance, prosperity. That's in reverse right now. And it can be a couple that's fighting over physical property. This is 5 of coins, and usually this means financial loss of one means or another. But one of the messages of this card is that the spiritual world, represented by the nun and by the church window here that's illuminated, is always available to us. If we feel that we're out at a loss, if we feel cut off from the rest of society, if we feel victimized, or, you see this figure with his head bandaged, if we feel wounded in any way, and many people can feel tremendously wounded, cut off with the 5 of coins showing up. 5 of coins is financial loss. But it's also when we just focus on the material of life, and we focus on the material can never satisfy us. So we can buy as many boats, as many houses, have as much money in the bank account. The material world will never be satisfying. And this card is a card of real choice of focus of, do you want to focus on the spiritual side of the world, which is always going to be available to you, always comforting, always illuminating, always warm, or do you focus solely on what it is that you don't have? So there is something, again, in this. I'm gonna give you the opportunity in August, Libra, to not focus on what it is that you don't have. If you're focusing on your losses and what you don't have, that can be very troublesome and problematic for you, and make you continue feeling cut off, isolated, powerless. You have to focus in August, Libra, on some sort of spiritual truth. That's really going to get you through this. And it's actually what will, if there is a divide between a couple, whether you're emperor or empress, focusing on the spiritual world rather than the material world is what's going to get you through it. This is actually where the two people unite. This is actually where there's comfort given and reassurance and care for the person who's focusing solely on the material. They will remain wounded. So hopefully that's not too esoteric for you, Libra. I'm hoping that you get some illumination from that. But I mean, if you look at these 3 cards, these are real cards of power. Emperor, Ace of Swords, which is the truth. He's the head of the military, the head of the empire. He's the top power in any situation. Emperor rules and leads by law. Magician creates for himself. He initiates. These are all very powerful leading cards. So it says to me, with all of them also in the upright position, you have the power and the capacity and the illumination, the truth, right there available to you. If you choose to utilize all of that, that's definitely available to you. Or you can remain in, material loss, powerlessness, disappointment, betrayal. There's really 2 ways you can go in August here, Libra. So I'm just reading the cards for you as what your sort of scenario is and what your options are and where your focus can be. And then at the very end of the month, this is 2 of coins, and this card always says stay flexible. 2 of coins can represent joint partnership. You can see literally it's the money from here and the money from there. He's juggling money. It can mean, taking money from one project to fund another project. It can mean having your money stretched thin, just covering your bases. But it also is a card of staying flexible. In the Rider-Waite, he's standing on one foot. And it can mean approaching the ups and downs of life with an air of fun and flexibility. So it can be a real fun card in terms of who cares what's going on? I'm going to have fun. Watch me throw these balls in the air. Watch me juggle. I can do it. Not only can I do it, I can do it on one foot. And in the Rider-Waite, there's the ocean here is going up and down with this ship. So it's really a card of the twists of fate. Is going to be, it reminds me of this Led Zeppelin song, Good Times, Bad Times. And it's kind of regardless of what happens, 2 of coins adapts a feeling of flexibility. He could either be stressed out and be oh my God, I've got to juggle all 6 of these in the air. I hope I don't drop one. And I'm doing it on one foot. Oh my God. But it can also have a feeling of like, watch me do this. I can totally do this. Not only can I do this, this is fun. Like the good times or the bad times. I don't care. I'm going to laugh all the way through it. So that is one of the, I think that sort of attitude through the month of August, Libra, is really, you're an air sign and you can be lighthearted and you relate to twos as well. So partnership, dialogue, communication, joint finances. There's a lot of that, but approach it with a lighthearted attitude.